As the East Coast prepares for Hurricane Irene, we want to pay attention now to some lessons learned from other hurricanes. Number one on the list, Hurricane Katrina. And joining us now is former New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin, and his new book about Katrina and its aftermath is called Katrina's Secrets. Mr. Mayor, good morning. Thank you for joining us here this morning.
Good morning, Chris, and our thoughts and prayers go out to everyone on the East Coast as they deal with this threat.
And I'm sure they thank you for that. You are an expert in the field here. What comes to mind for you when you hear about a hurricane this side bearing down on the East Coast, a region, especially up here in the Northeast, it's not always used to this kind of weather conditions?
Well, it's very concerning, Chris, because this storm has a larger footprint than Hurricane Katrina. And in my book that I self-published through CreateSpace, I talk about what we did to prepare for it, the evacuation. Most people don't know, we got about 95 to 96% of the people who were in the city out of harm's way before the storm hit. So there's many lessons to be learned from our experience.
A little bit more difficult to evacuate, like a New York City, just because of the sheer volume. And then there's also people on the Outer Banks. There are people on the coast of New Jersey and other regions that don't necessarily want to evacuate, think that they can ride it out. What type of advice would you give these people?
Well, don't do it. If you're in a low-lying area, my advice is to get out as quickly as you can. You can always come back home. Take what you need. Take your pets, your medicine, enough food and water for at least a week. You can always come back home. That's one of the biggest mistakes our citizens made, the people who decided to ride out, and they paid a heavy price for that.
One of the biggest after effects of Katrina was the lack of response. President Obama has already issued states of emergencies in certain states, North Carolina being one. But how do you gauge and how do you feel FEMA is doing now since Katrina with disasters like this? Is there a better state of preparedness, do you feel?
Well, I have good confidence in Craig Fugate, who heads up FEMA. He's been there. He was in Florida. He's done it before. But my bigger concern is that the laws that govern what happens after a disaster, the Stafford Act, really hadn't changed. And we as a nation don't really have a national evacuation plan. So unfortunately, we're probably going to struggle with a few more disasters.
Can I ask you this? I mean, what do you feel as far as the precautionary measures that have been taken along the East Coast already? Has anything stood out to you as, well, that's not a great idea, or that's a good idea that you've heard in the last few days?
Well, I've been watching this thing pretty closely, and I think that the governors to declare a state of emergency, the mayors who have been ordering people out in low-lying areas is a good thing. I think one of the other things that they need to work on and focus in on is how do they get people out. We have a very complicated formula of turning all our highways around. It's called contraflow, so we make sure that we maximize the number of people coming out. I'm not sure that can be done on the East Coast, but if it can, it probably would help.
Biggest lesson that you learned from Katrina, any type of advice that you can impart on the people here in the Northeast right now?
Well, the biggest advice is to make sure that people understand the seriousness. And, you know, one of the things on the East Coast is that there's no real buffer. We had a buffer to kind of lessen the impact of the storm surge. Storm surge is the biggest threat that's facing the East Coast, and there's nothing to slow down the waves that are headed your way.
Well, Mayor Ray Nagin, we thank you so much for taking the time. Like I said, you are an expert in the field, and if people aren't heeding the advice of their local officials, they should definitely heed your advice. Thanks again. Good to see you.
Well, thank you, and our thoughts and prayers are out to the East Coast, and you can get through it. We got through it in New Orleans.
All right, Mayor Ray Nagin, thanks so much.